You're listening to Let's Be Real with my beautiful wife, Tara Space.
Hey, it's your girl Tara Space. This is Let's Be Real podcast, and I thank you for joining me again on this Thursday morning. We are going to get into something I think we all need to talk about, something I think we all deal with. So let's go. Don't let the devil steal your joy. Now, you may think I'm going to go way left field and we're going to talk about some scriptures and maybe, but what I want to focus on is the fact that we all allow extenuating circumstances, people who do nothing for us, family who don't pay our bills, friends, even sometimes jobs, to take us places where we allow our joy to be taken. So, for today's show, don't let the devil steal your joy. And I'm not calling your family, friends, or your coworkers the devil. I'm just saying the essence of who the devil represents sometimes comes into our lives and it makes us forget why we should be grateful and what we should be grateful for. So we look at it all starts in the mind, right? You look at Eve. The devil came and stole her peace, manipulating the mind. He actually brought her pain. So think about in our lives when something comes by, and because they manipulate our mind and the way we think about things or things that has happened in the past, and we end up either dwelling on that or just going again left field, and we lose that peace that we had, even if it was a little. We lose our peace, and oftentimes it brings us pain. Now, because I am your relationship coach, it's all going to tie back to relationships. There are times when you allow the devil to come in, and again, when I say devil, it's a representation of what he represents. You allow something, someone, anything to come in and steal that joy from you, that peace, bringing you pain, um, taking you into realms you otherwise would not have gone into. Even the devil tried to take away all that Jesus had, right? He was trying to manipulate his mind, trying to play with his thoughts, and he threw everything he could at him. You can have all of this when he took him to the mountaintop. All this down here is yours. It could be yours. Now, it already was. But he was playing with his mind as to say, you can have so much more than you already have if you just denounce God. Come on, be on my team. So now remember what I said. All that Christ already had, being the Son of the living God, the devil was trying to tempt him into saying, I could give you so much more if you just denounce him. Now let's look at relationships, our relationships. And I want you to make it personal. So while you're listening to this, I want you to think what in your life has been okay, downright good, and you allow someone to come in and just speak some frivolous thing, drop some tidbits, or even watching something on social media, and it allowed you to think that what you had that was good wasn't good enough because it wasn't what someone else had. How many times? Social media can be the best thing that has ever happened to us, and it can be the worst thing. And often, for a lot of us, it's the worst thing, especially if you are alone. There are a lot of my friends and family who, during this pandemic, um, spend a lot of time alone. They are not married, no significant other that they wanted to kind of quarantine with forever. And a day, can't believe it's going on a year. So during this time, a lot of things could have played with their minds. A lot of things could have taken them into places they didn't need to go into because they were alone. And just because you're alone doesn't mean you're lonely. So we have to remember that. And all that they could have had, even being single, being able to go out, do what you want to do, not be accountable for anybody, taking trips where you want to go, grabbing your girls or grabbing that guy or that girl, um, focusing on a career, climbing the ladder, doing ministry, anything that you could have been doing. Now we know families do it too. Talking to the single person, anything you could have been doing that was worthwhile in your life, you could have allowed the quarantine to make you think that you've done nothing. That being single allowed you, forced you into the place right now that you are sitting at home, quarantine alone, or with your cat or your dog or your bird, but you didn't have that person. So then you start thinking, oh, well, that guy who really treated me like crap, who really didn't support my goals and my dreams, who might have been borderline abusive, whether it was verbally, mentally, emotionally. But if I would have given him a second chance, if I would have maybe overlooked the fact that I wasn't totally happy, I'd have somebody here with me right now. I wouldn't be alone. I wouldn't be lonely. And see, I'll look at something on Facebook or Instagram and I see all the goals. Remember, it's a moment in time. But I'll see these pictures, I'll see these videos, and everything looks great. And I start side eyeing that guy that, you know what, still probably is ready to come back if I need him to, want him to. But do you? Or are you just allowing your mind to be tempted and distracted and manipulated into thinking that person, no matter how toxic or unhealthy that relationship was, is better than me being alone, even though I have a lot going for me. My job, my friends, the places I've gone, the things I can do, the things that I am doing. Nah, that's nothing compared to if I had him or her here. That's how that stealing the joy works. So now, God says, renew your mind daily. Why? Because He knew and He knows that it all starts in our mind. He knows that when we start to think about things and they're not healthy and they're not good and pure and prosperous and all those good things, that our actions will soon follow. So I'll give you an example. If you look at social media and you see somebody who had, and my daughter and I were talking about this, you can see someone who had this amazing vacation. I mean, top of the line. Might have been $4,000 or $5,000 a night in their bungalow, their villa. It was on the water. It almost looked like it might have been a private island or either a section of it. And they were there with their boo, and we're just on the water. We're being brought things by the butler, and I'm taking it way out there. But you will look at this video and you will say, "Dang, she got it going on. Like, I want my life to be like that. That's my goal. I want to make whatever I'm doing match that when I go on vacation." Now, there are some people who, whatever job they have, they can do that and it doesn't hurt their pockets. They don't blink twice, all bills are paid. Great. But there are others who want to live that life and come close to living that life, but then when they get home, you don't see the struggle. You don't see how now they're borrowing money because their needs haven't been met because they took care of their wants. They took care of, I got to live the life that I see on social media and I work hard and I deserve it, so why not? But your pockets say otherwise. Then you have those who have done fabulous, fabulous things. Even if it was on a budget, you went to several countries within a matter of 4 or 5 years, several countries. You hit some Caribbean islands. This is within a few years. There are people who don't visit one island or one country in their entire lifetime. But because you focused on the people or person who was able to do exceedingly abundantly, you looked at your awesomeness and thought it was nothing. You started to just reminisce and talk about how great it would be if you could XYZ, but you didn't take time and you don't take time to say, Lord, I thank you that I was able to take those trips. I may have had to stay in a 2-star hotel, but I was in another country experiencing all it had to offer. We are forgetting to be grateful for all the great things that we get to do, all the awesomeness that we are. just because it doesn't emulate someone else's awesomeness. You don't know what it took for them to get there. You don't know what they had to sacrifice to be there. And you don't know what their life was like before or after that clip that you watched. Now you look at family. There are some family members who will talk about all the great family stuff that they're doing. And you may think, dang, I wish my family was like that. And granted, it's the same family, but we have nucleuses, right? So in your nucleus, your husband or brother and mother, what your little piece of the family pie, you may not eat sitting at the table together. You all might sit in front of the TV and get your little trays, and that's your thing. You're having fun. You may not talk as much. You may not show as much affection. When you get together, you guys rib each other and you're arguing, you debate, and you're having fun. You're having a good time. Then you watch your cousin, and you're like, oh, but they sit there and they eat together at the same time, at the same table, and they bring out the good plateware. They're not eating on plastic, and they're sitting there having conversations, and they're talking about each other's day. Man, I want that. But yesterday, you were good just laughing and having a great old time with your family because that's what you've done. And it wasn't until you saw something else that now I want that. Now here is, okay, you ready? Instead of you going back home and saying, you know what, maybe we can once a week eat at the kitchen table, well, kitchen dining room table. We can just eat at the table together. And you know what? Let's just talk a little bit about how our day was, or just some things that was on our mind. Let's have some conversation. It may be slow coming up, getting together because it's not something that you guys were doing. Doesn't mean that you can't incorporate it. You can't start doing it. And even if there's some pushback, you can start little by little. And if you are, like, if your kids are getting ready to leave the nest, if they're older, your kids may start to do that within their family, right? When they get a husband or wife and their kids and whatever the case may be, they may say, well, you know what? We had fun as a family, but I really would have liked it if we would have done more of this. Then guess what? In your family, do more of that. Don't sit and berate yourself because it wasn't done in your family, that it wasn't done with your parents. Do it in your family when you get one, if you don't have one. And don't sit there because that other family who's sitting there eating together may have saw you or come over to your house and said, man, I like the way they rib each other. I like the way they just laugh and joke and just have a good time. Because their house may be too structured. The kids may not want to talk all the time. And they may want to just have some fun and just relax and do something that they haven't done, which is just be silly. Now, you may have families that have it all. That's rare. But if we allow the devil to steal our joy, meaning I could only look at what someone else is doing and want what they have, instead of looking at all the goodness in my life and then try to make it better, I am forever going to chase that which is always fleeting. Do I need to repeat that? If I don't appreciate what I have, show some gratitude for what I've done, I am always going to chase that which is always going to be fleeting. Because you're never going to get what you're looking for when what you're looking for is what someone else has. Tara, said so. We have to stop trying to emulate and trying to covet what someone else has or what someone else is doing, and just live your best life. Do what works in your life. Now, there is nothing wrong with getting ideas. I love watching people go to restaurants on social media because it gives me ideas, and then I go to hubby and be like, hey, I just saw such and such. Let's go there. I'm not mad that my friends are at these restaurants because I'm looking at it and saying I didn't know about that one, and I'm going to tell him so that I can go too. Don't let the devil steal your joy. Appreciate that which you have done. that which you have in the works. Because even if you are barely holding on right now, you are holding on. And you can figure out, I can look at certain things and I can see, you know what? If I just switch things, if I just add this, if I move this, if I look to get training there, I can use what I see to make my life better, to improve so that I'm not struggling, but now I'm on solid ground. Now, okay, let me reevaluate things. Okay, now I'm doing better. This is how we use what we see. We don't allow it to affect our mindset. And I'm going to say it again. Don't let the devil steal your joy by manipulating your thoughts. Use whatever you see, incorporate it into your life so that you can make whatever you have going on better. Because someone is looking at you wishing that they can do a little bit of what you're doing. Heck, some maybe want your life all together. Nobody knows what you go through but you. All we see is a photo, a video, whatever the case may be. No one truly knows your life. Heck, some of us don't even know the true life of the person we're sleeping with. Our parents, they all had lives before us, and we don't necessarily know 100% of what that was. But take the time, look at what you're dealing with, look at what you're going through, appreciate what you have, appreciate your accomplishments, even if you had to go on a detour from where you just thought your life would be. Appreciate where you are, and then look at how you can make it better. And I bet you will be so happy. And the next time you watch someone on video or a family or friends, you won't have the partial memory of what happened in your life and what you should be grateful for. You'll be like, you know what? They got it going on. And so do I. And I'm just going to kick it up a notch, even if it's in sickness. If you're looking at someone and you have limitations, that can be hard. But even in your limitations, there are things where you can look at and say, you know what? It could have been a lot worse, and I'm doing better. And I may need to change my diet. I may need to exercise more. I may need therapy. I may need to, lose weight. I may need to take different medications. Whatever it is, I may need to do to improve myself. And sometimes it's harder than others. So I'm not minimizing it, especially when we talk about the sickness part. But sometimes we got to think about, I know I'm tired. I know I really would like to be a lot healthier and have more energy and all those things, but how can I make the best of where I am right now? And sometimes, even in our illness, we are a motivation to somebody else. And I know, Tara, I don't want to hear that. I want to be better, and I get it. But sometimes our illness and our struggle, unfortunately, is helping someone else. And just ask God, what is it in this? Why am I in this place? And sometimes, even through the illness and through the struggle, you got to press forward because your life is a living testament and a testimony to someone else. And let that encourage you to get up that next day and smile and find out what else you can do for you over and over again. And it gets better every day, even if it's just a little bit, it gets better. So, again, do not let the devil steal your joy. Renew your mindset every day. Be grateful for the things that you have, the things that you're doing, the things that you know you will do. Even if it's different than what you had planned for yourself, acknowledge that, you know what, you're doing okay. And if you keep moving those pieces, taking the goodness that you see that other people may be doing and then apply it to yourself and keep climbing that ladder towards your success, not anyone else's, your success, whatever is good for your life, that's what you do. Until next time, keep it real.